All right, I'm doing something minor today. The main reason I've got the GoPro on is I want to try it in a new location instead of, you know, using the little gooseneck and clamping it on everywhere. I've got it on my head. Now I want to see what this works like. Maybe I'm shaking around too much. I've seen people do this online and there's a lot of back and forth and sort of, and you see everything else and it's messy and it's just not that great. However, you don't have to think about the camera. It's there and it's just looking at what you're looking at, so it's good in that regard. So I'll try this out. I'm doing something extremely minor, something I sort of wanted to do ever since I got the bike. When I got the bike and I had to get it on, you know, get it back on the road, I bought a new battery for it. And the battery I found at the time was the, was it Moto Bat or something? The equivalent size and shape of the original, but it's a modern AGM type of battery. Sort of like the best battery. It's the best battery you can get for this kind of thing. Really good battery, modern, all the good stuff. But I hated that it's bright yellow. I didn't really like that, but I bought it anyway because I just needed to get things going. I always wanted to replace it. And now people will say this isn't very smart, but I don't care. I'm just going to try it out anyway. I'm replacing it with the original style acid battery. The Yuasa type of battery, you know, the white with the red writing and the black top and all that. Real period looking battery. And obviously, you know, it's acid, so I might be asking for trouble. However, I'm not putting it in here for, you know, 10,000 miles and I'm never going to look at it. You see, I maintain the bike all the time, and so, you know, if there's any problem with drips or whatever, I'll deal with that. And apart from that, there's no reason why it wouldn't work perfectly well. So I've got one, and I set it up yesterday. It's been on the charger, and we're going to put it in. So there's the bike with the yellow battery. It doesn't look that bad. I'm sort of used to it now. It looks like, well, hey, there's the battery. You know, it's sort of like safety colors or something. There we go. Take that out. Less convenient on the new one is it doesn't have these posts like that where the thread is inside there and you only have to have the screw. It's actually got a little bolt and a nut. Again, if that's period, sort of, that's the way it was, that's fine with me. That's what I'm doing. It's part of the fun for me. I'm going to replace these wires at some point. That was a fix I did way back in one of my first videos because I found that these were burnt out. Very common problem. And the wire was corroded inside quite far back. And so what I plan on doing, I've got a whole bunch of a bunch of old plugs that I've cleaned up and bleached and cleaned out, and I've got these, you see here. I've got several, and so they're looking good. I'm going to replace some of the connectors on the bike, and so I'll use them for that. But I'm going to use modern internals like this. So let's go get the battery, the new old battery. Now they don't say Yuasa on the side, they say Katana. That's just the way it is. I've been coming down every few hours and giving it a knock and a tap and trying to get the bubbles going. Surprising amount of bubbling inside these. We'll just check that again here, nothing on the bench. There's a lot of bubbles in there. Lots of bubbling. Yeah, and the levels change dramatically here based on the bubbles. So that side's got quite a few bubbles, which I think, if they came out, would get that one back down to that level. That one's a tiny bit low. Now, it's funny how they say it. When you fill it up with the acid and you set it up and then you let it sit and then you come back a half an hour later and take it again to that line. If you then do it now, if I'm going to do this now and top it like that one there, they say don't use distilled water, not the acid. It emphasizes that point to use distilled water for the top up after it's sort of done all its whatever it needs to do. But what I'll probably do instead is, what I'm going to do is take a tiny bit out of there and put it in there. So I used this get up here for doing it. I used a bottle. This is the little tube that comes with it that you stick on the bottle, on the big jug of acid. This is all they give you to fill it. Gotta have your eyes well protected. And everything else. I will take a paper towel. I'm going to put that on the floor so I can drop shit on it if I need to. And we'll take another one, put it here. All right, that should do it. I'm being fussy here, of course. That doesn't need to match that. Just being fussy. And it's the tiniest amount. Oh, back in, and then in there. Okay. So those two are even. It's all looking fine. I shouldn't really bother. That one's slightly high. But I've got enough OCD going on that I don't want to leave anything that's going to bug me. That's the point. I don't want to leave anything there where I'm going to be looking at and I'm going to go, oh, why didn't I do that? Okay, I'm going to leave that. That looks good. Now, the other thing about this is it comes with a tube, a breather tube here, or a vent more than a breather. I don't think it ever goes back in. It just comes out. Now, I unwound it and I hung it on this overnight just to straighten it out, so it's a bit easier for me to put it in. Let's get a knife. How about that? That there, that's where I cut the little plonk off the bottle. That's a bit of acid. Wow. How about that? It's interesting. That knife, I need to put a new blade in it. Yeah. But it sits against that hose. That's what sort of keeps it from sitting perfectly in there. Just pushes against the hose right there. Okay. And this will come over the top, looking like that. And the hose, no, don't like that. I'd prefer to go from there around the back of the battery. That would seem to be the nicer path. Just go back around behind it. I think that's what I'll do. So, 5th time, let's take this out. I don't know what can be seen on. Hey, look at where he's coming up. There. Up you go. And out there. So that'll come around the battery there. And come out there. And I've got the that other breather hose there. And I'll probably just tie it to that. Come out in the same place right there. So now here, that would just be pushed on there. That's nice. Good, happy with that. I'm going to use this one, Clean and Lube. Fiberglass pen. It's a German thing. I don't know how original these are. I mean, the way one is brass and one of them's plated copper. I wonder if that's relevant. I'll have to see if I can find something out about that. Good. And that was the plan. So what does that look like? I mean, visually, that's right. That's more correct to me, even though it's not seen. It suits my sensibilities. Yes, it does. It doesn't sit dead horizontal, so good stuff. Now I'll hide it again. No one will ever know. Perfect. That's what I wanted to do, so there we go. Main thing out of this is to see whether the GoPro works like this, and if it does, maybe I'll do that on some things. Like right now, I can't tell if the GoPro's looking at the bike. It should, because I checked it on my phone. But right now I'm sort of looking at where the choke is. And when I play this back, I'll judge whether the choke is roughly in the middle of the picture. All right, we'll leave it at that. GoPro, stop recording.